this is the meeting of June 22nd, July 27th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the applicable portions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been given. This meeting is posted on the bulletin board located in the corridor of this building and published in the newspaper on January 10th, 2020. Councilwoman Noonan will offer a prayer, and Councilman Burns will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I'd like at this time to always remember Angela's daughter Ava, who had some serious surgery. We want to put her in our prayers. We pray for our nation and its leaders during this difficult time, for all those who are seeking. We pray our justice in dangerous, troubled world. We especially want the protection to bring peace and justice. But for those who have commitment to defend our freedom, our policemen, our firemen, our emergency responders, our military, defend our freedoms, their commitment with their lives. Please bring our divided country together. We need peace. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States
the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
with its stands,
under God,
one nation,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione.
Here.
Councilwoman Gingrich.
Present.
Councilman Burns.
Here.
Councilwoman Noonan.
Here.
Councilman Guadagno.
Here.
Councilman Gross.
Here.
Council President Buccio.
Here. All right. Okay, item number 4, discussion by administration.
Thank you, Council President. And Fred was pulling together some last-minute things to be able to discuss in the closed session. And so, since he's not down, typically
He
you
just
would have
came down.
taken A, but I'll be
No, he's
happy
here.
to keep you rolling. Oh, Fred, good. You snuck right in on me. Nice job.
Timing, long timing.
Are you comfortable with starting with item A, or you want me to jump on that one? It was a simple.
Okay, yeah, I'll take this one.
Okay.
Okay, item 4A, amending resolution 20-53R. Essentially, there is a transposition on the last resolution last month, and it's a good transposition. The amount that was in the resolution was an award of a bid for $293,813.13, and it should have been for $239,813.13. And the resolution number was 2020-253. It's now 2020-263. And that is on the official agenda number 11.2.
Thank you very much. Item B is the refund of construction fees. These are just some fees that were, sometimes we refund because they didn't do the project. This one, they just paid the wrong amounts were calculated, and so it corrects those fees and has them pay the right amount. And it's for block 913, lot 23, and it's on the official agenda as item number 11.3. And I believe items C and D, the mayor is going to speak to.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Good evening, members of the council, Mr. President, Mr. Bushio. Item C is a donation of a 1994 Ford F-350 brush truck. This brush truck was purchased by the township and been used faithfully for 26 years by the Bayville Volunteer Fire Company. They had requested for the town to donate it to the fire company. In return, they were going to donate it to another fire company within Ocean County that's in desperate need of a brush truck. Thankfully, a few years ago, the Berkeley Township Municipal Utilities Authority donated to the township a similar truck, and that was converted to a brush truck. So there's no need for this 1994 Ford anyway. So we're making the recommendation to donate it to Bayville Volunteer First Aid Squad, and then they're going to in turn donate it to another fire company who's in desperate need of it in Ocean County, and that's on the official item 11.4. The next is the cancellation of taxes for 100% disabled veterans. I believe there's 4 more of our residents who qualify for the disabled veterans. As I mentioned in council meeting, this is a state mandated program. The Township Council and the mayor and the township support the program. It does honor those veterans who have a service-related disability and have been deemed by the Veterans Administration as 100% disabled. And as part of the state law, they do not have to pay property taxes if they're deemed 100% disabled. So I just want to mention once again that we support this program. It's a great program, but it's an unfunded state mandate. And those are on the official items 11.5, 11.6, 11.7, and 11.8. Thank you.
Item 4E is authorization to bid for 2021, 2022 contracts. The first being for recaps, tires, service, and repairs. The second one is maintenance and repairs on HVAC systems. And the third is on Peterbilt truck parts. All three of these contracts expire this year, so we're going out to rebid them. For the first one, recap tire service and repairs, it's on the official agenda number 11.9. For the second one, repairs and maintenance of HVAC services. Council will recall, we actually did an additional year on that one last year. That is on the official agenda 11.10. And on the third, for Peterbilt truck parts, that's on the official agenda 11.11. Item 4F is amending Schedule C agreements, and that is because there are additional services that could be required from the Schedule C, so we want to up that amount from $30,000 to $50,000, and that is on the official agenda number 11.12.
Thanks, Fred. Item G is authorizing the township to enter into an agreement with the county for what's been called the CARES money. This is federal money that was given to the state, and only 9, I think, of the 21 counties received it individually as a county. It was based on your population, and this is CARES is for Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, and that CARES money can be used to help offset the costs of the coronavirus on the township and on any residents in Ocean County. This agreement will allow the county to reimburse us for some of those expenses. In a nutshell, the county, for most of our expenses, is requesting that they be put in for FEMA reimbursement first, and with the idea that the county may cover things that FEMA does not, and or would cover the 25% match with FEMA. So that'll be the procedure, but the resolution tonight simply allows us to enter into the agreement with the county, and as does the other municipalities within Ocean County, and it's on the official agenda as number 11.13. I think the mayor was going to speak to item H. Yep, thank you.
Yep, thank you. It's just to touch on item G, the CARES funding, as the administrator had mentioned. Normally, whenever there's a natural disaster, as this, not a natural disaster, but it's a medical emergency disaster, and we usually put in for reimbursement from FEMA. FEMA usually reimburses the township 75% of our expenses, and under the county's agreement with the municipality, they will be reimbursing that 25% that's not covered under FEMA, as long as it meets their criteria of the funding as outlined in the CARES Act. As you may recall, early on when the CARES funding was approved by the federal government, there was a provision within the law that municipalities that had populations of 50,000 or over received CARES Act funding. Obviously, Berkeley Township, we have about 43,000 residents. I know probably after the census we'll be close to 50, if not surpassing 50,000 residents, so we did not qualify for direct CARES Act money. So that's what this is. This does is allow the municipality to enter an agreement. So we're optimistic that there is discussion in Washington, D.C. about a second round of CARES funding, and we're optimistic that the second round of funding will provide all municipalities in the country that have been adversely affected by the coronavirus, by the COVID-19, will receive some type of direct funding. So in the intermediary, for us to be reimbursed, we're going to go through FEMA first with 75%, and then we're going to seek reimbursement from the county for the balance of the 25%. As of right now, between salaries, wages, overtime, and direct out-of-pocket costs for the municipality, we are probably close to about $600,000 in expenses and counting. So we anticipate that number to continue to rise. So that's, as the administrator mentioned, that is on the official item 11.13. The next is the promotion agreement for WJRZ for our Sounds of Summer concert series. What this is a no-cost agreement for the municipality, and WJRZ does not receive any funding from the township. In essence, they are our promotional sponsor. They use the radio station, they use their online, they use their Facebook page, they market it online, they also market our summer concert series on the radio, and in return they also send a DJ to help co-host our summer concert series. So this is just an annual agreement with WJRZ for promotional advertising. And I'm sure the next question is, are we having summer concerts? So yes, we met with the Recreation Department, John and I. We started our fundraising, and so far, obviously, due to COVID-19, there's a lot of struggling businesses and supporters that have supported the summer concert series in the past, but unfortunately just don't have the disposable income that they've had in the past to help subsidize the concerts. But so what we did is we reduced it. Obviously, there was restrictions on outdoor gatherings that are in effect. So just real briefly, our summer concert series is going to start on Wednesday, August 5th. Wednesday, August 5th, 6 p.m., Jukebox Legends, and then at 7:30, Super Trans Am. Super Trans Am is an arena anthem band. They play a lot of 70s music. Wednesday, August 12th, at 6 p.m. is Gerard Esposito, and at 7:30 is New Power Soul. They're a dynamic 9-piece band. They play classic rock from Queen all the way to modern Bruno Mars. They played for us last year and did a phenomenal job. Then on Wednesday, August 19th, at 6 p.m. will be Rock and Rhythm. As the opening act, their traditional doo-wop band, singing songs from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then at 7:30, the Fabulous Infernos, 4 decades of music. They do a great job. So those are our those are our 3 basic Sounds of Summer concerts for 2020. Obviously, as I mentioned, we cut it down substantially due to the loss of revenue from sponsorships, and also because at the time there's been limited on the number of outdoor gatherings. We do have the beach party for Saturday, August 15th, from 6 to 8:30 on White Sands Beach in South Seaside Park, and then obviously our Founders Day, Community Pride Day, will be on Saturday, September 5th. And then it will be 2 bands that day, Sounds of the Street, a doo-wop group, and 9D's Night, which is a 90s group. So we're pretty excited about the concert series. Obviously, as I mentioned, unfortunately for this year, due to the outdoor gatherings requirement as administered by the state and the governor's direction, we're only going to limit our summer concert series to Berkeley Township residents only. Since we can't have, the thousands of people that usually come out to our concert series, we're very, very limited to the amount of money the amount of people that we can have to come to our concerts. So I apologize in advance for the out-of-towners who love to come to our concerts, but our concerts are going to be only open to Berkeley Township residents. Obviously, we're going to be requesting that residents who show up will have staff at the gates checking for proof of residency at the gate. Obviously, residents have to bring their chair and blankets masks must be worn when arriving and leaving the park. Leaving the park, once you get into your location, obviously you can take your mask off. We will be marking out the field, similar to what they did for the Manchester concerts. Manchester did 8-foot circles every 6 feet around the park. I don't think we might do circles, but we may do paint the field area into a grid, and this way everybody will be more than 6 feet away for social distancing. So just as a reminder, masks must be worn when arriving and leaving in the park. Once they're seated, then they can take their masks off. But if they're going to go to the restrooms or visit vendors, and when 6 feet social distancing cannot be maintained, unfortunately, they have to wear the mask. So it's an abbreviated concert series. It's our 21st season. So we're excited to bring some type of outdoor entertainment to our residents. So this is the concerts for 2021, and that is the agreement, and that's on the official item 11.14. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Item I is the introduction of an ordinance for foreclosing mortgage property and vacant property to all be required to be on a registration list that we keep. This is important to help us stay on top of problem homes where they're deteriorating and unsafe. And I know Councilman Burns has been on top of the idea of doing a better job with that all along. I think this is another tool that'll help, and I'm not sure if Councilman Burns wanted to speak to the ordinance at all.
Yeah, just real quick. Thank you, John. Last week or the week before, I went out with code a couple days, and one day we wrote 3 pages of violations, either houses that need to be demoed, or just maintenance, or houses that have been under construction for the last 20 years with no COs and vacant homes. So this will be a requirement that any foreclosed, because most of the banks, the people that foreclosed were upside down, and they're just sitting on the properties vacant. But a lot of these houses, when they come down, you know, there could be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath slab house that comes down, and then the next we have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath go up. So since Sandy, I would think the town has lost millions of dollars in tax revenue from letting these vacant houses sit. So just talking to the attorney, a vacant home is any home that can't be occupied. So whether the roof is off or...
Your connection cut out on the phone.
Excuse me?
Hello? Are the people on the phone still on the phone?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Was that Bob or somebody say?
Couldn't hear you.
Bob couldn't hear.
I'm here.
They couldn't hear Jim.
Okay. Can
Okay.
everybody hear it now?
Yeah,
And then
can everybody-
the foreclosed properties would have to be
You're
registered.
not coming over the phone.
I'll call you later.
So, mayor and councilmen that are on the phone, can you hear Councilman Burns speaking?
Where you calling?
Yes, I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
And is there anybody else on the line?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Who's all on the phone line?
Roll call.
Billy
Councilman Zion is
Yankowski.
on the phone.
I'm sorry, one at a time. I know the mayor's on the phone, correct?
Correct.
And Councilman Guadagno is on the phone, correct?
Correct.
And who is?
And I'm Billy Yank on the phone.
I'm
Billy Ing?
I'm Billy Yankowski. I am on the phone. Thank you.
Billy Yankowski.
Lillian?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yankowski.
I don't know how anybody else is on the line. The meeting tonight is a open public meeting. The public that is here,
They had a call-in number also for tonight.
then that was put out by mistake. I apologize because this was not a regular phone-in for the public meeting. We are open to the public and in fact have quite a few members of the public here. That's why it surprised me that there was anybody else on the line.
Well, I'm on disability, so.
Okay, then maybe it was you I heard speaking, and certainly there's not a problem with you staying on the phone to listen, but
Okay.
we'll just try and keep it to that. Thank you. Okay, so as Councilman
Yeah, if you're
Burns,
not, yeah, just John, for everybody who's on the phone, if you could put your phone on mute, that would be helpful because we are picking up some background noise from people talking in the background on the phone. So if you could put your phone on mute, and then when it's time for council comments, you can take it off of mute and then talk and then put it back on mute. Thank you.
thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
All right, just one other thing. As I asked the attorney how we would know of foreclosure, the tax office is notified daily of foreclosures. So we could share them with the building and code as we shared our list. And, Tony picked up 5 and whatever. But I think this will help a lot, and it should be no cost to the residents. Actually, we should be picking up some fines off the banks. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Burns. And if I didn't say it the first time around, which I don't think I did, this particular introduction to the ordinance is on the official agenda as item number 10. Letter J is amending Resolution 20-233R. And I'm sorry, I found it amusing because we put the wrong name on who should get the refund. And apparently we put a child's name, and they want the $163 refund put to the parent, which certainly is fine and is the correct way to do it. It's on the official agenda as item number 11.15. But I know for me, if there's checks in my kid's name, I still go cash them. So I don't know why, but we will change that one for the.
Well, actually, point of order, Mr. Administrator.
Yes, sir.
You might want to item L for the Manitou basketball refund, Lily Leibowitz. That is the name of the child. So you may, so you can avoid this in the future. Just double check to make sure that's made pickable to the parents, because I don't think Lily, who's I believe 6 or 7, has a bank account yet.
Good catch. And so when we come to that resolution, I think it could be amended to just say to the parents of. Yes. Perfect. Item J is all set. The resolution is correct as it stands, and it's on the official agenda as item number 11.15. Item K is the donation of property. This goes back to some of the really old ones that a lot of people have heard about, where a family literally says that they have some property in Bayville that was left by an uncle who actually acquired the property with a newspaper subscription, like we've all heard of from years ago, and they've just found no use of it, and they'd like to give it back to the township. It's block 372, lot 3, and that one is not on the agenda at this point, but needs a motion. Is that why? Or is it still, it's highlighted on mine? Maybe I have an older resolution.
It is, it's on 10B.
Okay. Yep. I was looking at my workshop agenda. So it's, as the clerk said, it's on the official agenda as item 10B. Okay. Letter L is authorizing 4 recreation refunds. These are for various fees that were paid by people that then they could not fulfill, so they need to get it back. And as the mayor said, the one in particular, these are on the official agenda as items number 11.16 through 11.18. Is 11.17 the one for the Leibowitz?
I have it out, yeah.
Yes. So if the council would do that, the one that is on the official agenda is 11.17, would be amended to say that the refund shall go to the parent of Lily Leibowitz. Thank you. Item M, authorizing the sale of property. This is actually 3 ordinances, because as everyone's aware, I think, when the property is offered to contiguous property owners by resolution, as there is another one coming up, these were all offered, and these were all had requests to purchase these non-conforming parcels where they can be sold to the contiguous owner. Each one then, once the sale is going to be authorized, has to be done by ordinance. These are the introductions of those ordinances. Item on the official agenda, item number 7, would authorize the sale of block 584, lots 40 and 41. Item number 8 on the official would authorize the sale of block 792, lots 9 and 11. And item number 9 on the official agenda would authorize the sale of block 420, lot 5. Item N is amending some design standards in our zoning ordinance. It's amending chapter 35-10 entitled Design Standards, and it's on the official agenda as item number 10A. And I was not sure if our Director of Planning, Jim Morris, wanted to speak to that ordinance introduction at all.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Yeah, this ordinance is part of our environmental impact statement. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the ordinance amending the section of the ordinance requiring environmental impact statement?
Yes.
So we're actually before the State Planning Commission currently for our biannual review. There was an ordinance that addressed this requirement for environmental impact statements. It failed, it was repealed at some point in time, and we've actually amended another section of the ordinance that will accomplish the same goal, which would be to require environmental impact statements for development within the township. And this will be on first reading at this time.
Thank you, and that's on the official agenda as item number 10A.
Item 4O is authorizing to re-advertise and receive bids for 2021 through 2022 snow season, 2-year contract snow plowing. Council may recall, we did go out once before. We did receive a couple of different contractors, but we don't feel it's enough, or we just have to cancel the snow again this year. But just in case the snow does come, we want to go out and try to get other snow vendors. And that is on the official agenda number 11.19.
Thank you, Fred. Letter P is, as referenced earlier, authorizing the sale of real property. So this is just a resolution that would authorize the sale of block 76, lots 426 and 427. It's on 3rd Avenue in the Manitou section of Berkeley Township, and it will be offered to the contiguous property owner or owners, and it's on the official agenda as item number 11.20.
Item 4Q is authorizing advertising for requests for proposals for 2 different matters. The first one being for banking services. We had last time we went out was about 5 years ago, so that is over. So it's time to go out for new bids for banking services, or RFPs anyway. And that would be for a 3-year contract. And that is on the official agenda number 11.21. And item 4Q2 is for payroll services. And council may be aware that we've been doing payroll services in-house since around 2010. And we found finding more and more limitations with the current software that we're using. So we're looking to go out to a third-party vendor, at least send out RFPs and see what comes back. And that is on the official agenda number 11.22. Item 4R is an emergency temporary appropriation. In some areas of the budget's a little bit short, particularly in the area of landfill. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, people have been doing a lot of clean-outs, cleaning of the yards, the garages, the attics. Bulk pickup has been totally out of control, and the cost of the landfill is just going higher and higher and higher. So much that it will not make the temporary budget that we put forth through September. Will run short, and we had to add in an additional $300,000 to the temporary budget for that matter. And that is on the official agenda number 11.23.
Thanks, Fred. Item S is authorization to reject bids and go out for new bids for a rear-loading refuse truck with plow. That one is on the official agenda as item number 11.38, as well as an automated refuse collection system cab and chassis, which is on the official agenda as item 11.37. And to put it more simply, we went out and received 1 bid each for 2 garbage trucks. one being a typical rear loader, the other one being an automated one with the one-arm pickup. The way those bids came in, we had concerns and wanted to exercise two options. We wanted to reject these bids because if we go back out to bid, we would substantially change the specifications for those trucks. And prior to even doing that, we'd like the authorization to do that, but prior to doing that, we're looking at a couple of cooperative purchasing options, because when we made some due diligence calls to look into what other townships have done with these trucks, we became aware that there's what looks like a good opportunity to pick and choose and build out a truck without going out to bid by buying through something called a Sourcewell cooperative purchasing agreement. So we're looking at both those options, and that's why we're asking for this authorization tonight.
Item 4T is a shared service agreement with Ocean County Solid Waste Management for leaf and vegetative waste composting program. Again, this will be another one of the shared services, and that is on the official agenda number 11.36. And in conjunction with the going out to bid for payroll services, item 4U is authorizing the use of third party for electronic payroll services. This will be an ordinance should we move forward and go with the payroll service outside service. It allows them to be the third party for payroll deposits, tax filings. And that is on the official agenda, number 10C.
Item number 5, comments from the mayor and council. Mayor Amato, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Do I have any comments, Mr. Council President?
I should know better.
Yes, but I was advised by Councilman Jim Burns that I have 7 minutes. I have 7 minutes to give my comments tonight. Just a couple quick things. I went over the concert, so that's good. So and since we didn't have any June or July concert, what we did, as I mentioned at our last meeting, is we did 4 movie nights. Drive-in movie nights at Veterans Park. It worked out well. They were well attended. The first 3 are over already, and then the last movie night is this Wednesday. It's at dusk, so it's between 8 and 8:30, and then it's this Wednesday night. The movie is A League of Their Own. It's sports night, so if anybody wants to get out for a drive-in movie at Veterans Park, so that's the last one of the summer. We are probably going to schedule 1 or 2 for the fall, just so we can continue the momentum. Obviously, the summer concerts, which I made the announcement of, and we'll get the schedule out to everybody. Unfortunately, I have some disappointing news out of Trenton. There appears to be no changes on the elimination and or cutting of the property tax reimbursement program or the senior freeze or the homestead property tax credit or the old homestead rebate program. Berkeley Township, we are number 1 in the state of New Jersey with close to 8,000 residents who qualify for the homestead property tax credit. And we are in the top 3 for the senior freeze, the property tax reimbursement program. We have over 4,000 homeowners who qualify for that program. So, we're going to continue. The council passed a resolution. We're going to continue to work with Freeholder Director Joseph Carey. The Board of Joseph Freeholders have adopted a resolution. As the Secretary of the Ocean County Mayors Association, I transmitted our resolution to all 33 municipalities, all 33 mayors, and several municipalities have adopted resolutions in opposition to the elimination and or cutting of those 2 vital property tax release programs. So we need to continue to keep the pressure on the state of New Jersey. These are, as I mentioned, these are vital property tax relief programs that our residents have come to expect. The average homestead credit is between $180 and $220 for Berkeley Township. So that would ultimately become $180 or $220 property tax increase for those homeowners. And of course, the residents who have been part of the property tax reimbursement, the senior fees program. In October, they're expecting a check for the difference. And, obviously, as of right now, the check's not coming. So we need to continue to put the pressure on our local legislators, our state governor, keep putting pressure on the governor's office because, he should find other areas to cut instead of vital property tax relief programs. It's just unconscionable. Our residents have, need this property tax relief, especially now under the COVID-19 situation. And it's just, I just wanted to bring that up to date, and we're going to continue to, pressure them. I know I'm down to 2 minutes, Councilman Burns. COVID-19 update. To date, as of today, we had 748 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Sadly, 101 individuals have succumbed to COVID-19. Of course, the majority of those, or a good number, not the majority, a good number of those came out of our long-term care facilities, which has been consistent throughout the state. So we're at 748 confirmed cases and 101 unfortunate passing away. Just a couple things on the summer program, our summer camp, as I mentioned at the last meeting, due to the COVID-19 restrictions in the governor's executive order. Our summer camp basically is very watered down to what it was in the past. We had to add extra counselors due to social distancing requirements and such to comply with the governor's executive orders and the state mandates on social distancing and stuff. We decided to have the camp anyway because I know there's some parents out there that rely on summer camp for childcare for the children. So our numbers are down 75% compared to previous years. And, there was no transportation this year because obviously the busing is an issue because you can't social distance on the bus. Then there's stringent requirements that the buses have to be cleaned. We just borrow the buses, so obviously we're not providing bus transportation. So, nearly, I think the numbers between 70 and 100 people did sign up for camp this year. So that's a good thing that we made it available. A few municipalities, Manchester Township, and a few others just did away because there were just so many restrictions. They just did away with their summer camp at all. So we didn't want to do that. We wanted to make sure we had that option open for parents for child care for the summer. Our summer Manito Park basketball program is also underway. The numbers are down there as well. Numbers are down there as well, and we had to do some additional mandates to make sure that everything was good for the summer basketball program. So that's going well. Last week, thanks to the council, as you know, we obtained property in South Seaside Park. And I want to thank Steve Seiler, Jim Sperber, John Camera, Gina Russo, Maureen Cosgrove, and our employees in the Buildings and Grounds Division and Public Works who worked very feverishly to get our Barrier Island Administrative Annex up and open. And we had the grand opening last week, and it's been great. It's been well received by the residents in the South Seaside Park and Pelican Island. And we're going to continue to open it through Labor Day. And then after Labor Day, we will be doing it a couple days a month because a couple days a month. Right now, we have it open 3 days a week until Labor Day. And then after Labor Day, it will be open probably 1 or 2 days a month. But that all still has to be determined based on the volume that we have. We anticipate August 1st when the next tax quarter is due. We anticipate the annex to be overflowing with people eager to pay their property taxes in South Seaside Park and Pelican Island. So that's my report, Mr. President. Tried to keep it to 8 minutes, Councilman Burns.
All right, Councilman Burns, you're up. No, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met this past Friday, July 24th. We discussed the particular items like the budget. There is not enough information at this time to give a conclusive report about the budget, but it will be forthcoming. In addition to that, we did discuss item number 4R, as Mr. Ebonu was speaking about, the emergency temporary appropriation. We felt that it's necessary that we approve that because we definitely need that revenue, that money. In addition, I agree with the mayor's comments about the annex that was opened in South Seaside Park. I was lucky enough to attend the grand opening, and I believe it creates opportunities for the South Seaside Park residents to visit a number of different town departments without coming here to Town Hall and to the Recreation Department. So, Mr. President, that concludes my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bacchione. Councilwoman Gingrich.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everyone again. It's been a while. I have a couple of issues. As most people know, no public pools are open at this time due to the overseeing of what the residents can and cannot do. The legal issues that were reviewed made it impossible to open the pools. You could not restrict the people the way they had wanted them to be restricted. And then there was a clause in the end, if anyone got sick, they can sue the local board for that location and the people that are on the board. So it was determined it was better to keep the pools closed, so we didn't have to deal with the legal issues. The other situation that's happened with the Board of Elections, this is a copy of an election notice that went to a resident at 129 Bayaboo Drive. This lady passed away 20 years ago. The resident that's living in the house brought it to me. His name is Gerard Kanga. He was very upset because there's no way, if you're going to do mail-in ballots, that you can account for each person and each ballot unless the Board of Elections is doing their job 150%, which means they would have to know exactly who's living in each house, and they have no idea. When we go around campaigning, we have our list for all the residents in our area. And when you get to the door and you say, Mrs. Jones, and they say, oh, she passed away, I write it, most of us, I believe, do it. We write it on the list to say this woman is deceased, and they give you a date. Now, we turn those lists in, but from what I understand, the Board of Elections does not recognize that. They need a death certificate for that person in order to remove them from the election rolls. That being said, why we cannot have elections where we go in a booth and we vote like we've done my whole life, I would like to see that happen continuing going forward. The mail-in ballot, to me, is just a way for certain people to control certain things when it comes to elections. I'd like to pass some type of resolution. I need guidance on that, stating that we would like to have our voting done in the election booth where we can go in and pull our own lever and not rely on mail-in ballots. Had we had the election the way we always did, where you went in the booth, this lady would have never showed up at the polls. So she wouldn't have been counted as a voter. But because it was mailed, anyone living in that residency could have sent in her vote and voted the way they would want it to be voted. So whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you want it to be fair all the way around. And the only way to make it fair is that you go in the booth and you vote, or you put your thumbprint with your fingerprint on it, something like they do in all these countries around the world that have voting. So if we can do some type of resolution, I would really appreciate that.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Councilman Bacchione?
Thank you.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan? Councilman Godano?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Buccio?
Yes. All right. Now you're up, Burns. You're good?
Yeah, I would like Lauren to help me on the wording on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want that for the next meeting, not tonight, right?
If we could do it for tonight, that would be great, because then we'd have it on, we'd have it up and running. Because it's already July.
So you need the title for tonight, and then you guys can still work on the wording.
Okay.
Yep.
If Councilwoman Gingrich wouldn't mind reading the two candidates that are on that registration confirmation.
Miss Margaret K.
No, Andy Kim and Cory
Oh.
Booker.
Okay. And Menendez is on here, Booker's on here, and Andy Kim. So that's who sent this out.
Okay, give my 6 minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
A year or two ago, we did a resolution to do away or lease or sell the governor's mansion. At 9 o'clock this morning, Island Beach State Park was closed. When Island Beach State Park closes, it's because of the parking. And I'd like to see them do the governor's mansion, make it a parking lot and a bathroom, because we have 7 miles of beach there. As soon as the park closes, it puts our town in a bad way, because the additional people come to our beaches, which I don't mind. We have the best beaches around, and the parking becomes a real issue. And now I think we've restricted it to 50 dailies that come into there. So our dailies could be gone at 9:30, when this is done. So we really need to send type of a letter to Island Beach State Park. I know the administrator deals with the superintendent there. Is, they either have to add more. There's 7 miles of beach. Come on.
Good question. I thought Island Beach currently they're restricted their capacity. That's why it's been filling up so quick. I read where their capacity, they're only allowing half the people than they normally do.
Correct. Well, I know they do the math on how many people can
Right.
fit on a beach
But
with
see,
6 foot.
Normally, I see it's been closing really early now because the capacity is half of what it normally would be because of COVID. That's my understanding.
Well, that could be why it was at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning.
That makes sense.
Yeah, typically on weekends, it's like 10 o'clock, but you're probably right that they are limiting the capacity, but,
Absolutely.
then it's killing us. Our residents can't come down and get a daily badge, or the parking is insane. Over in Seaside Park, we've been discussing the parking with the engineer, and we're going to address that in October. We don't want to, upset things right in the middle of the summer with this COVID thing, but, people, because they have 80, 90 feet of gravel lawn, they think it's 80, 90 feet of parking space. But there are spots there that we could get some cars parked on the street without hurting the residents. As everybody else, the town hall, it's been a long time coming. I may put a little complaint box over there for myself, so I can go over there once a year and empty it. All right. The other thing, we're fortunate to Tom Gross there with our paid EMTs. A lot of municipalities are having a hard time answering calls. Their first aids are getting called out 2-3 times without answering, and they're going to mutual aids. But I think, John, you might want to add something now with Monarch, because when the EMT is called out, there's no cost to the patient, but it used to be an excessive cost from Monarch. So, maybe, John, you could add to that. The governor came out with 64 municipalities that he's going to give $10,000 grants to small business impacted by the COVID. The 2 towns in Ocean County are Lakewood and Brick. The 2 towns in Monmouth County are Asbury and Neptune. So do the math. Everybody else, if you go online, you see the 64 municipalities. I'm tired of this governor buying votes with my tax money. So the local residents, we're being a little lenient, and I know MJ's hired 15 more people this week, young kids there. So, it's an inconvenience to the neighbors. There's additional people out, but, after this is done, we'll rein it in a little bit. I was up at the VA hospital today in East Orange. They took 3 patients in while I was there. That was it. Parking lot was empty. Meridian Hackensack and the newspapers, and I've talked to Congressman Smith, Kim. Meridian Hackensack still does not have the VA in their network. So if a veteran's sick with this choice, they either have to go to community or Monmouth Medical. And they're just failing to negotiate with United Healthcare to get this cleaned up. So I think this week I might sit down with somebody intelligent and write a couple letters to the editors and see if I can't get this out. Because I think if the public really knew that, they can't take their father to Jersey Shore, they got to take him to the community. But they'll take him as an emergency, but they can only stay for 23 hours as an outpatient. They can't have surgeries or anything else paid through the VA. But that's all I have, but I'd like to get that out into the newspapers. All right, John, if you just want to add on the Monarch thing, we did a good hit there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Burns.
Sorry.
Just through the chair, Chief,
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to touch on what Councilman Burns said with regarding to the overflow of Island Beach State Park, we did do that because we were we wanted to make sure that our staff and seasonal badge holders had access to the beaches. Obviously, with the COVID-19, social distancing is something that needs to be required on the beaches. So we made the decision early on to limit our daily beach take to 50 persons per street end, basically, and it's been working out well. As soon as we hit 50, we cut it off, and that's it. I mean, this year we sold a record amount of beach badges in the town's history, seasonal beach badges, that is, because if you all recall, back in December, the council authorized an early bird special up until May 31st. A seasonal beach badge was $35, and then after May 31st, starting June 1st, seasonal beach badges went to $50. Thanks to the luxury of social media, we were able to get the word out to our residents, and we sold a record amount of beach badges this year. And a couple of times we did receive correspondence from residents with seasonal beach badges that were not comfortable with the amount of people that were on our beaches early on, and then we made the decision to cap it to 50 daily badges per day. Obviously, the only 3 days that we reached the 50 per street is Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. This past weekend, as Councilman Burns said, by 10:30, 11 o'clock, we had reached our capacity. What the beach badge takers contact the other streets to see if they reach capacity. If they haven't reached capacity, then they'll ever come in and we send them down to the other streets. So it's been working out well since Island Beach State Park has limited their capacity to 50%. Our beaches have been busy, and our revenue for our beaches for the first time in many years will actually be up, which is something that's very welcome since we're in the middle of the COVID-19 and the expenses that the municipality has laid out. As I had mentioned earlier, we're talking about the CARES Act resolution with the county, is that we're probably close to $600,000 now, and $600,000, and then probably as we get closer, probably that number will be increasing as to our direct expenses to the COVID-19. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, one more thing on the beaches. We have 3 good bay beaches, Amherst, Butler, and the Bayview Beach over in Seaside, but the parks and beaches is a little stretched that they can't get out there and get the seaweed off and, keep the way they could. But the problem is we can't get anybody to work. I know the mayor has been looking for our seasonal employees and we can't get them. So, maybe we have to look into something a little different to keep our beaches up the way we want them. But there are 3 free beaches that you can get to in the town. Thank you.
Good point.
Yeah, it's, just to jump in, as Councilman Burns had mentioned, I mean, we usually hire between 6 and 8 seasonal workers for parks and beaches, public works, and sanitation and recycling. and I think we got 3 applicants this year. We're constantly advertising. We pay, I believe it's, what is it, John? 12, between 11 and 12?
Yes.
$12 an hour, I believe. And we just can't get anybody interested to come. It's just frustrating. So, and just to touch on what Councilman Burns had said, I think during the winter we should come up with a bid spec and put out to bid certain services to supplement our Parks and Beaches department. At least put it out to bid. Come up and then see what the number is to see if that's something feasible. Because if we have the Clean Communities money that we get awarded every year, and this year we're going to have money left over because we can't get people for these seasonal positions. So maybe moving forward with the Clean Communities money, that we put it out to bid and see if there's local landscaping or companies out there that'll put bids in to take care of certain parks, and not to replace, just to supplement our parks and beaches. Because Jim's right, they are stretched thin. From the storms that we had this year, the high winds, a lot of trees were down, a lot of storms with tree damage that had to get taken care of. Our parks, the maintenance of our parks, because of the rain that we've had, the grass grows a lot faster now. It's just, our parks and beaches guys, I mean, from, April to October, they are nonstop. So, maybe that's something, since we can't get the seasonal workers this year, maybe next year it'll be different. We may be able to get seasonal workers, but I think, during the winter, I think maybe we should come up with bid specs and put it out there to help supplement and our parks and beaches. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Noonan.
Yes, thank you. I have quite a bit today. First of all, I would like to ask Mr. Cameron about 162 3rd Avenue. I would like to know what made this poor woman over a deck have to end up in Superior Court. I have to tell you, this is outrageous. This woman was given wrong information, and I feel when the person went for the permit the first time, they didn't have a permit. The person in zoning should be able to go over there, get out of his office, and had saw the situation before it got totally out of hand. How can some poor person end up in Superior Court over a deck? I have to tell you, this is outrageous. I don't know. I know the circumstances. This person was given wrong information from an engineer upstairs. Then it went downstairs, back and forth. This poor person over a deck that should have been resolved. And because the zoning person, and I don't mean the zoning board, I mean a person who could have gotten out of his office and gone over there and looked at the situation. They did not have a permit in the beginning. Then it ends up being overturned. An engineer has to go over there. Then they're trying to tell them they have to come in front of the council for an overturn, which doesn't happen. Give information out, it should be proper. This poor homeowner over a deck in Superior Court, this is on us.
Sadly, yes, I agree, and that there were some bad information given out. I won't reiterate the whole process. I think the council's familiar. There was somebody who built a deck without permits. They were issued permits, and then it found out that those permits should not have been issued, so they had to come back. If you recall, the council, for exactly the reasons you're saying, waived all the fees because the only option that person had was to then go to the zoning board. So because of the circumstances, you agreed to waive the fees, which was generous to do. And I take blame for bad information that myself and several of our professionals were under the awareness, or the mistaken awareness, that once these people were denied by the zoning board, that in general, a zoning board appeal does come to the governing body. What I don't feel bad saying, I only found out recently that the only appeal to a governing body from a zoning board decision is the appeal of an approval by that body. So if the zoning board approves an application, and an objector wants to appeal that, they do come to the governing body and say, we want a hearing and we want to appeal to you. I thought that any appeal from the zoning board came to the governing body, but apparently the statute, the state law requires, so this is the somewhat long-winded answer to Judy's question, Councilwoman Noonan, I'm sorry, if you're too familiar, that the only recourse for a person who wants to appeal a denial by the zoning board is to go to Superior Court. So that applicant who was denied was then given the correct information, and they have been given, or we prepared the information, I don't know if they picked it up yet, for the transcripts and whatever they wanted for their appeal. But when a person is denied by the Board of Adjustment, their only recourse ultimately is to go to the Superior Court. So that's the answer as to why this person has to go that
Well,
route.
I'm just mean, we should be careful.
Oh, and I agree, and I will say we always are very careful, and
No, I
in the
mean,
volume of things,
right.
do not give out bad
And
information
people
very
from
often.
the zoning board should not get personally involved with the person who's complaining against another person. Also,
Agreed.
just a quick thing, a small one for the.
John, wasn't the deck built without permits first?
We know that.
Correct, yes, Judy, Councilwoman Noonan just said, yes, she was aware of that, but still that.
It's when they
the rest-
came for the permit and, yeah. She came to get a permit and they never went over there to even look at it. The way it was handled was not right. One other small thing.
Right. Right. No, I agree with Councilwoman Noonan, but I just wanted, for the record, just to make sure that everybody knows that they built the deck without any permits to start.
Oh,
So if they would have came in for permits and then built the deck and then found out afterwards that there was an issue, that's totally something different. The deck was already built when they came in for their permit,
We know that.
and then got the approval, and they shouldn't have got the approval, and that's something that Administrator Cameron's going to handle. Administrative had already handled administratively, but I just, in case there's any public there or anybody that they built the deck without any permits to start with, and that's how this whole thing got started.
Well, that's
And
right.
that's correct.
Yeah, but the second time, that's why he should have gone out to look at it. Okay, my other small thing with the engineer, do you think you could look at York Court over by Sherwood and Silveridge Park East? If the grass gets any higher, you're going to need a weed whacker in the middle of the street. And another thing, this issue on the senior freeze and the homestead rebate, and a lot of things that maintain to the seniors. Myself and Mike Signorelli from Holly City South, we're creating a thing called the Senior Alliance of New Jersey. What we're doing is we're going to wake up the seniors in the whole state. It's not political, and because the seniors spend at least 50% of all the credit cards, all the money, and most of the votes in the whole state. And we've got information to go out to the whole state, and we're going to make ourselves well known in Trenton, New Jersey, to go after not just the freeze or anything like that, because the seniors do the most of the voting and spend a lot of money. So it's going to be called the Senior Alliance of New Jersey. This is a very big deal because people are really interested already. We have a petition going out. The numbers will go out. This will help all the seniors, but also we're going to go after the state of New Jersey. We're going to wake up the voting thing. And yes, I have one more little thing. At this time, I would like to thank the garbage man, Public Works, the men who do all the work, properties, and the tax office, the code enforcer, Kenny Anderson especially, who's given a lot of attention to my community. All the employees in the town have always made me look good because we make the phone calls. But it's the people in the town who do all the work. All the workers, the beaches, that comes from our men. And especially Karen, Beverly, and Gail. Without the clerks, we could never function. They are the core of the whole town, truthfully. And of course, my engineer. And John Cameron for answering the phones. And poor Fred for putting up with my little dumb statements. Because at this moment, and these are my own personal feelings. Dear Berkeley Township and the Mayor and Council, I am formally giving you my resignation to Mayor Carmen Amato and the Council of Berkeley Township to become effective in August. Unfortunately, I'm resigning due to my unsatisfactory factors which have caused me to become increasingly disappointed with unprincipled political decisions over the past several months. The reason I became a councilwoman was to serve my constituents, to make lives of people in Berkeley Township better. I can no longer be part of the hiring practices, excessive spending, and some of the political behavior. I was elected to put the interests of the people of the township first, but when I have not agreed with the mayor and council on some issue, I have faced some backlash and personal pain. The unprofessional conduct I can no longer tolerate. It has been a privilege to represent my ward and the people of Berkeley Township nearly a decade. I will miss all my people as your councilwoman, but I will always be there for you. Thank you. These are my own personal feelings. But it's effective August. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Noonan. On the phone, we have Councilman Gross. Any comments?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Councilman Guadagno, any comments?
Yes, thanks, Council President. Back in February or March, I can't remember which council meeting it was, but I did mention about putting pickleball courts on top of our tennis courts by spray painting lines. And I was hoping that we could have it for this summer, but due to COVID reasons, a lot of businesses and places closed down. We were not able to get any quotes for the pickleball courts, which is nice because we don't have to build separate courts. We could just take our tennis courts, spray paint lines on them, and make pickleball courts, which is growing hugely in popularity, and it's a great activity for our seniors. Thank goodness that a lot of the businesses have opened up recently, and we have just gotten some quotes on spray painting some lines for the pickleball courts recently. So I'm hoping that pickleball will be coming to Berkeley Township hopefully in the fall. If the latest would be the spring, but I just want to give everybody an update on that. I know people have been asking, especially a lot of the seniors, because it's a sport that they enjoy playing. So hopefully, maybe this fall we'll have it, but definitely by the spring. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Guadagno. Item number 6, discussion by the Township Engineer.
Thank you, Council President. Item 6A is a contract change order. Various drainage improvements was the project. Earl Asphalt Company was the contractor. It's a decrease of $325.22. We recommended this approval in our 7/13/20 letter to the Mayor and Council. It's on the official item 11.24. Item 6B is an award of a contract for Barbados Drive South, St. Croix Street, St. Martin Place, and Nicholas Court reconstruction to Earl Asphalt Company in the amount of $487,313.13. This project was designed and being administered by Alimo Associates from your engineering pool, and it's on the official item 11.25. Item 6C is an award of contract for Guadalajara Drive reconstruction to Earl Construction Company in the amount of $248,913.13, and we recommended this award in our 7/22/20 letter to the Mayor and Council. It's on the official item 11.26. Item 6D is an award of contract for 2020 various drainage projects to Mercicola Excavating in an amount of $53,993. We recommended this award in our 7/22/20 letter to the Mayor and Council. It's on the official item 11.27. Item 6E is an authorization to advertise and receive bids for Boca Raton Street, Gwen Court, La Damiente Street, Maracaibo Place, Oaken Gates Drive, Oakham Court, and Santa Fe Court reconstruction. This project is being designed by Nadir and Associates from your engineering consulting pool, and it's on the official item 11.28. Item 6F is an authorization to advertise and receive bids for Beaumont Court and Shannon Court resurfacing. Again, this project's being designed and administered by Van Cleef Associates from your engineering pool, and it's on the official item 11.29. Item 6G is the authorizing the release of the required roadway trust fund contribution posted by Hope Springs. It's a return of that roadway trust fund. The roadway improvements have been completed, and we recommended that release in our 7/7/20 letter to the mayor and council. And item 6H is an authorization of release of a performance guarantee posted by Earl Asphalt Company for the various drainage improvement projects. We recommended this release in our 7/13/20 letter to the mayor and council. It's on the official item 11.31. That's all I have, unless there's any questions with those
For
matters.
the chair, for the engineer,
Yes.
I know we've done quite a bit of dredging over there in Amherst Channel, and right now our marinas are booming, you know, with boat sales and getting in and out. But after that dredging, there's only 3.5 feet or so in that channel there at Amherst, next time you go by. And,
Okay.
you know, when you get into Whitey's, that whole channel that goes through there is only 2.5 feet deep, and that services, I think, 6 lagoons there.
Yes.
Whereas I think Amherst, I can't even count the lagoons that that one services. But, you know, if we could look into some dredging, if there's grant money available for these marinas, you know, to get into Downsies and Trixie's.
I know the Waterways Commission has been working on a comprehensive dredging plan. They're looking at numerous areas. We've also met with the NJDOT. They're going to come in and do some dredging. The holdup is finding the spoil drop-off location.
Yeah, our dredging problem is huge.
Mhm.
When we bid, do we do a yearly bid on asphalt by the ton, or if we could add?
Public Works typically puts out a bid. I think it's once every 2 years, and it's for all different kinds of materials, you know, what they typically use.
I know Parks and Beaches, they just purchased the fencing for South Seaside Park at Ryan pickleball basketball court to prevent the balls, but if we had a bid, it would be a little easier to get a contract.
I believe fencing was included. I'll have to check.
Okay, and if we can add an item I for our discussion on Bayview Park, on the parking lot and the fencing.
Okay.
Let it ride.
We need a motion.
You need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Just to be clear, this is to go out to bid for,
Yes, to advertise and go to bid.
for what, what type of project?
Park improvements.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Item 7, discussion by the township clerk.
Item A has been removed. Item B is firefighter application approvals. We have Ken Lozano and Mercedes Martinez, and they're both approved for the Manitou Park Fire Company. They're on the official as 11.33 and 11.34.
Thank you. Item number 8, the meeting is now open for public comments. I have we have 3 people sign in. I'm going to go in order. The first one is Leanne Zoppi.
Through the chair, 1 second. On Judy's resignation, you know, I know Judy's heart was always in the right place, and, you know, I'll have to find somebody else to fight with here, but, you know, we appreciated what you did.
Oh, yeah, just my personal feeling. I do, I respect you all. It's time for me to go.
All right, I just need somebody else to fight with.
I don't think you'll fight with me.
Leanne, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Leanne Zoppi, 222 21st Avenue in Seaside Park. I'd like to start off the meetings by complimenting the council and township on some of the things that they provided for us over in Seaside Park. So also to note that I've been appointed a position to help out the community for the beautification. And if you would just give me a chance to read what I had written here. I wrote it so that I could not have to go by memory and just sort of get through it in a timely fashion. So I would like to acknowledge and thank certain people for going out of their way for the community of South Seaside Park. First of all, I would like to thank the police. The Berkeley Township Police Department is an example of what law and order should be, and I commend them. Our police are helpful and kind. They always have a smile and a kind gesture. I would have to state that good leadership promotes a great team. Thank you, Chief DeMichaels and the entire police staff located in the South Seaside area that I have come in contact with. My husband and I have owned our home there in Seaside Park for 23 years. And it was quite a different environment 23 years ago than it has become now. Then came the horrible reassessment of South Seaside Park, which changed the whole dynamics of the area and no longer became affordable for people to live there, but people like myself who really loved the area stuck it out and found ways to afford it there, stating the obvious. In summation, we moved to South Seaside Park permanently upon retirement in 2016. One of the fears that we had was dealing with the Berkeley Township Building Department. The building department was so bad that builders in the area were charging people more money to build their homes if they had a home built in Berkeley Township. One builder was charging clients an additional $5,000 if they had to deal with Berkeley. Since 2016, Berkeley has come a long way. We no longer hear as many complaints. I give thanks to Councilman Noonan, who we met at a Republican party, who then alerted several people in the township, John Camry, Jim Morris, who went out of their way to come to a meeting in South Seaside Park to help the residents with their issues. I'd like to thank Kenny Anderson, Jim Sperber, and Steve Seiler in Public Works for being helpful and kind in various situations, like not being plowed out in South Seaside Park. That was frightening, to say the least. And when we got on the phone with some council people, they got involved. And they were instrumental in getting the situations rectified or at least heard and considered. I'd like to thank the mayor for the 24th Avenue benches, the benches on 23rd and Roberts Avenue. And now I'd like to note just a few disturbances over there at South Seaside Park, which I hope that we could rectify, given the fact we know that COVID put a damper on everything. So, but this has been going on for years, and I'm hoping that we could move forward in getting these situations rectified. On July 4th weekend, we had a very stressful situation in South Seaside Park because of the overflow in Island Beach State Park, which Mr. Burns had mentioned. Bayview Avenue was a nightmare. Cars were parked all over the road on both sides. There was no way, if we needed an emergency vehicle, that they would have been able to get through. I received various complaints and pleas for help from people who I know that I know how to get in touch with the council people or talk to the mayor, and they were all flooding my phone. I had my neighbor coming over crying because she couldn't get to the beach because it was crowded, and all the people from overflow were parked along the bay, and they were all on the bay, so nobody can go anywhere. So I made some phone calls. I reached out to several people, Councilman Burns, the mayor, John Cameron, and John Bastion, looking for an answer to a very uncomfortable situation here on the island. I would like to thank Mayor Amato, John Bastion, and John Cameron for giving the situation their attention. As a last resort, after trying to reach Mr. Burns, I called Ms. Noonan. As always, Ms. Noonan was ready and willing to hear the residents that day by answering the phone and getting in touch with the right people. Ms. Noonan has always tried to lead me to the right person who would be able to help us. I cannot begin to express to you my gratitude for Ms. Noonan and all the help she has given us over the years. Although South Seaside Park is not Ms. Noonan's district, which she reminded me, I knew I could always count on her because of her passion to help in a time of need. We are truly at a loss here, realizing that Ms. Noonan will no longer be on the council. As for some of the issues facing South Seaside Park, the no parking signs, I don't understand why they would take a year. It's clearly impossible for the police to enforce that no parking along the bay if there's only one sign on 24th Avenue. Regular maintenance of the Bay Beach, which I think that you had already addressed, that you can't get the people, so,
Get that in?
yeah. The wall has been pointed out, to me by so many people. Keith, you were there, and I pointed out the wall and what it looked like. That's still a mess. It was never addressed. So COVID really can't play a part in that, because that was over a year and a half ago that you were there to walk the bay with me. So it was never done, and now it looks worse than ever. Why can't we make this area look aesthetically pleasing? It was suggested that we fix the wall and put dune grass in front of it. That never happened. The Bay Beach between 22nd and 23rd has a cheap-looking fence along Bayview Avenue. Couldn't a better-looking barrier be put up? I mean, it's not a long distance between 22nd and 23rd, and I'm sure it wouldn't be expensive to make it look aesthetically pleasing. I hear a lot about a doggy park on Butler Boulevard Beach. I've been listening to the council meetings, and I just wish that South Seaside Park would get as much attention as the Butler Boulevard Beach does. Councilman Burns, I would like nothing better than to work with you personally. However, getting in touch with you remains a challenge. I don't understand the lack of communication between the two of us, and I'm just hoping at this time that it's not a personal thing.
I'm over at South Seaside Park. Matter of fact, I park on the road on the end of the board, and complain to Mr. Camera all the time. I listen to the complaints about we put a bay bench in and the people can't see the water. So, I'm over there all the time, and I always thought that you thought that Councilwoman Noonan was your councilwoman, so that's why I always took her as, your spokesman.
Well, it's just that she would answer the phone. I mean, I've sent you text messages, I've called you, and out of frustration, I literally had people crying.
Well, that's my answer. I always thought that Councilwoman Noonan was your spokesman.
Well,
So if she's not here anymore,
no, that's not fair, Jim.
I'll answer your call. It's not fair, you getting up, you thank everybody but me.
Because you didn't answer my call. That's all I'm talking about, is that the people that I
Give me my
mentioned.
secret number.
All right, I'll take that. And like I said, I hope it's not a personal thing,
Well,
so.
it is personal when you call Councilwoman Noonan 10 times before you call me, but that's his.
Okay, so let's move forward, and for the record, I call Councilman Noonan, as I stated, as the last person I spoke to, because I know that she will answer the phone, and she will get on the horn, and she would say, hey, they need your attention.
Okay.
Okay?
That's my answer.
Okay. So the Bay Area at Sunset draws many families, people who, for the most part, don't get to see God's beautiful paintings, but for 1 week out of the year. Broken walls, a cheap-looking fence, and a huge generator that's been sitting next to the gazebo that I can only guess is there in case of a flood, they say, that gets $1,000 a day for that generator to be there. For what? And if they could take that $1,000 a day that they're paying that generator to be there in case there's a flood coming, maybe we could put the $1,000 a day to that Bay Area and really, let's give them something to talk about. We're the highest paid taxes in the area. I don't understand why other people don't make phone calls for themselves. Either they feel uncomfortable about speaking out, or they feel it always falls on deaf ears. They call me to be their spokesperson because they know I don't give up. I try to help the people in need. It is frustrating not to be able to speak with those who might be able to rectify a situation, and all we're asking is for someone to return a call. You do realize you're dealing with people who feel that for the moment, the amount of taxes that they pay, they are also the ones who receive the least. The lack of response when trying to reach out further enforces the way they already feel. I feel sad knowing that the loss of one voice that we could count on 100% of the time, for at least to hear our complaints, is now going to be leaving. I feel that Ms. Noonan exemplifies the example of what people in political positions should be like, caring for people they represent. If all politicians would learn to feel the way that she does, then this world would be a much better place. Thank you, Councilman Noonan. Once again, from the bottom of our hearts, you will remain a good friend for all that you've done for us. Thank you. And may God bless all of you, and I hope that we can all get to work together.
If I can have one response through the chair. As you know, the engineer has been working on getting a deck put out there.
Yes, I do.
And we get a lot of pushback on the people that live on the east side of Bayview. They
Which
think
they're
they own-
moving, by the way.
They own the beach.
Yeah, I know.
We've had benches moved
Mhm.
because they didn't like them. That fence we had cut down. I've actually been inside that Governor Christie's pipe. And
Yeah.
if you notice, if it doesn't rain for a week, there's still water coming out of there. I've had that tested on my own money. You know what it is? It's soap. It's from all the old showers. They tell me it's from a car wash. I've been here 70 years. I don't remember a car wash. But, you know, I've been over there. I've complained to the Board of Health. So next time it doesn't rain for a week, you look at all the contaminants that the state is putting out there. I've talked to the DEP. I've talked to our engineer and the Board of Health. Something like that is very important, because if you're going to bathe in that beach, you can bring your own soap. You don't have to use Governor Christie's.
I know they were working on the, putting something over that pipeline, and the person who has complained the most has recently put their house up for sale. They actually had a contract on it that I guess they were asking an astronomical amount of money, and that fell through, but they are
Well, the one house
activating.
is sold.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, that one house.
Well, that's sold.
Yeah,
saw
I
it the
heard
other
that
day.
it may have or may have not
But
gone
the
through.
engineer may have a comment on the deck, because he's getting a lot of pushback from the DEP on that.
Well, as you know, years ago, when they paved the road over on Bayview, they dumped all the asphalt into the bay over there, and that has never been cleaned out. But I do want to thank you, John Cameron, for immediately, after they put up the situation on 24th Avenue is so nice, and I can't thank Mayor Amato enough, and Councilman Burns, if you were involved in that, whoever was involved in it, thank you so much. But when you put the barrier there, to keep the cars out of that area.
Yep.
Really helped so much. And I've contacted the governor numerous amount of times, asking him to stop the free parking over there on 24th Avenue. I mean, for God's sakes, if you want to, like, you're draining everybody, you're not giving senior citizens their refunds, and you're allowing them to park there for free, litter, you got outhouses, this and this and that. What's the deal? Deaf ears. So, you know, I've even got him on TV, and still, I can't get any answers for that, but I'll never stop trying.
And as you've heard, there's the same frustration from the administration and some of the council people when trying to deal with the state. And if I heard you correctly, I just wanted to be clear, the township does not have or maintain a generator over there. That
No,
would be the state.
they pay, we,
That's got to be the state.
Yeah.
I'm
The
saying,
state,
so, no,
yeah.
when I heard you say, like, why are you keeping a generator and that money should be.
I
put
don't
towards
know,
the beach.
I don't, well,
just
that
wanted
I
to make
don't
sure
know,
you
but I know that they're getting
No, I'm
$1,000
saying
a
we-
day to
right.
keep that generator
But I just want to
there.
make sure you know,
Yeah.
that's not from us.
No, it's from
Right.
the pump station.
Yeah.
And they even
Yeah.
put a portage on there.
Yeah.
that-
But also, all the new equipment on 24th, next time you go down there, look how it's all rusting. We don't have the manpower to go down there.
I
and
know.
keep it up.
I know, I heard you say that, and I said, I realize that COVID is playing a big part in
Because I don't
that,
stop
but,
by your house doesn't mean I'm not there. all the
no,
time.
just answer. Even if you take a few days, but I haven't heard from you, and I sent you a
I
couple
don't want you
text
to feel
messages.
slighted, but you could ask anybody in this room. I don't answer their calls either.
I know that, I heard that.
We're all,
All right,
That's
I
what they
wasn't
said.
going to chime in, but yes.
I,
We all have different,
doesn't answer anybody.
we all have
I don't want to
difficulty
come here,
there.
it takes me 45, I'm so glad about the annex, because I don't want to come here and spend
Through the chair.
45 minutes
Through
traveling.
the
to
chair,
get
he gave us all his private number.
He did?
He
All right.
doesn't answer.
I
He
want
doesn't
it,
answer
I
that
want
either.
it. Okay.
I told her
You
that,
guys exchange numbers at the break.
I did tell her that you don't answer.
Yes. Yeah, and you know, but I don't want anything except to be part of helping you guys out, you know, for the good. So, thank you, and good luck, Judy.
Thank you very much. Second resident that signed the list here, Ambrose Conti. Please state your name and address for the record.
Ambrose Conti, 87 Charles Street, Bayville, New Jersey. I'm complaining about two streets that I'm having a problem with for a long time. About 8 years, and you were one of the first person that, Fred, that was there with me, if you remember that? Okay. A street was put in and never completed, and I'm out there maintaining it so it don't get overgrown with my own lawnmower, and it's going to get ruined just from going up and down, dragging the thing to keep it from overgrowing. And then when it was built, it's like that. And I was told by Steve Styler, the road department, to make an appointment with the engineer. At that time it was Peters, Mr. Peters, and Mr. Amato. That never took place, but I would like to have an engineer come out and the mayor and just go over.
Ernie is aware of the situation from our communication, but if he could, and so he may have been out there already, but Alan is, I think, acknowledging that whole get together with Ernie, find out what the status is, because you're right, and I apologize too, because that's been a long time coming. It's a more complicated issue, and it does appear that there was, well, it's true that somebody cleared out the roadway or a paper street that was there and is utilizing it, and it's not done correctly, and it's been like sort of laying that way for a while.
What street is it?
Lewis Avenue.
That's
Through the chair,
It's Lewis.
if I remember,
You saw it, yeah.
at one time, we were going to vacate that piece of street because your neighbor there, I think he's running 10 businesses out of that place.
Oh, not that street. That's the other street that I'm talking about. That's a different.
Now, you need that street to get access
That's-
to your
that
driveway?
I have no access at all on it because he put his lawn there. He's got businesses that is in his backyard.
Well, I think to cut this short, maybe you can make an appointment with Alan, and I'll go out there with Alan and Mr. Cameron, because that is a mess out there.
You've been there, so you
I've been
know
there a lot.
You know what I'm going through. And, and they plan on putting water down these streets, and his frontage is on that street, which now he could get it from Charles Street, so he don't have to go in front of his house, but I have the next 2 lots over, so that's gonna give me a problem
Well,
in the
Alan and
future.
John and I will take a ride out there.
Yeah.
You have my phone number.
Yeah, call me.
Will you answer it?
Mr. Conti has my phone number, and we'll set it up.
That is a mess out there.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
The third person we have is on the phone. Is Mr. Ankowski on the phone? Billy Ankowski?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes. It's time. Would you like to comment, Mr. Ankowski?
I wanted to comment. This is on the boatyard that I was waiting for that.
Could we get
portion to come in.
could we get the correct spelling of your last name and your address, please?
Yeah, his last name YANKOWSKI, and I'm on 14 Browning Ave.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm in for the, not the Charles Street, I'm in for the, like it says, the boatyard with the boat ramps and all that. So I'm waiting for that.
If I can, through the chair, there's nothing on the agenda tonight at this meeting about that, but I can, if it's okay with Council
But I
President.
believe we have people here that want to speak about that. They have questions also.
Okay, so is that what you meant? You wanted to wait and speak or listen
On
first
that, yeah.
to the other public comment? Okay.
Maybe you could
Yeah.
tell them that Mr. Frost is here.
Yeah, then what I can tell you is that my last update, and Alan, I don't know if you heard any differently from Ernie, but Ernie or Jim, Ernie told me that there has now, just I think as of last week, been an application submitted by the boatyard to go to the board. That was the last update I had and can give is that they were issued summonses for having done the work they did and operating the way they were operating with no approvals. When that went to court, they were told that the ticket, the summons and the enforcement and further enforcement would be stayed until they went before whatever appropriate board there was. And then there was another further delay, and there was never, an application never came in. But most recently, when I checked with Ernie, I believe it was last week, they have submitted an application, and he's trying to get it scheduled in front of the appropriate board.
an application for having those things approved or building a new structure?
I have not seen
he's
the
got-
application, so I don't know if the application, if I hear your question correctly, I'm not sure if the application contains anything other than just what's there, or if as part of that application, they're asking for that and more.
Now, a question.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see what it is, because
Exactly.
right now those structures are, unacceptable because they weren't approved or any,
Correct.
nobody ever filed any plan or permits or whatever.
Correct, and they have no right to maintain whatever's there. It will have to go to a board, and whether that is approved as is or completely disapproved for the entire use. I believe that one would need a use variance, but again, that's why I don't want to say for sure what board they have to go to and what variances they need until we see the application and our professionals review it. And I do know it's been a long and frustrating process, but there's really no way to deal with it until then. And as promised from the beginning, there will not be any approvals given for anything until the appropriate board is hearing it and there is public comment so that all the neighbors can be heard in the right venue.
So
great. That's great. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So I have questions for
Thank you.
Either Alan or Jim. So when this application is heard, anyone that lives within 200 feet will get noticed of the hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Through the chair, I have a question also for the engineer. What comes first, the wetlands or the zoning approvals? Because I noticed they filled in quite a bit of drainage area there. Do they need a wetlands approval before they go to variance?
The process, Mr. Burns, is such that they can choose to go before the board or go in front of any other state permits. Any action by the board would have a condition that they would be required to get any and all other local, county, and state.
So we're covered.
Yep.
Good.
Yes. State your name and address for the
Thomas
record.
Prosser, Potter's Drive, Bayville, in reference to New Jersey Outboard and to the Scott Estates.
Doris Craig, 6 Browning Avenue.
With no disrespect to you, you were worried about a homeowner with a deck. We have 8 acres of boatyard in their backyard.
I know.
So you're familiar with that. So with somebody that got 0 permits. He's still doing construction, still doing drainage, still doing riprap, still dealing with the wetlands, still destroying the property. Nobody's going there. We've tried to call the township. Nobody answers our calls anymore. We're very upset with that because nobody returns our calls. Nobody returns emails. Our attorney even has a hard time getting back, getting information back from the township. It's really getting stupid what this guy's getting away with. And now we reviewed the application that he did today. Now he's trying to do lighting and a building. And a building. Now also, we did a walk around with somebody that, a professional, and we noticed that on the boat lifts, you can literally undo the bolts, the anchor bolts, by hand. They're not even tightened. The place is falling away. The trees that he buried are becoming unearthed because of all the erosion. You can physically see the trees coming out of the ground now.
That he buried.
It's a disaster, and nobody's doing anything.
Plus, there's oil spills back there. There's a big pond of water that's breeding mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are worse than they've ever been.
Yes,
The
it's,
sound from Route 9 is ridiculous because there's no woods there, no barriers, there's no fence up. Kids are seen playing on the property. They're still
It's-
operating the heavy equipment. There's no fence stopping the kids from going on there.
you can't enjoy the property anymore.
But it's a mess. I don't think he'll ever do anything right because they go over there and they paint the bottom of the boats, they leave the paint cans open overnight. It rains, it's all going into the soil, into the wetlands. The wetlands are filled in. There's plastic blowing everywhere from these boats coming into our yards. And this is our view now. This is what we look at. It's a mess.
And he should be immediately shut down. We've been saying that from day one. He should not be allowed to operate it. It is a disaster.
They're doing work every day.
Even our attorney said, he stated, with the legal, whatever the codes are, that it's an illegal use property, it's an illegal use business, he has no access from Route 9, and he's profiting. And again, all the boat owners, everybody's got a boat, so now we know we got a guy with a boatyard, so he's got a lot of friends. It's beyond stupid what is happening to this property, what's happening to the neighborhood.
Our property's degraded.
And
These
so-
are beautiful homes back there, and now they gotta look at this. It's not even upkept. I mean, you don't even keep it up.
So, and now we see that he's applying, he's not being denied anything, and he's not being told to take anything down, but now he's applying for lighting and a building, and he's not removing the boat racks that are unsafe. So no inspections of footings, no inspections of anything. So, and once again, we've tried calling the township, and nobody returns our calls anymore. And she's upset because she feels that, we're looking like the bad people because we're going after this guy, so.
And you know what? He put new stone back there, so he's still
Yeah,
doing
he's still
construction.
doing construction every day.
Yeah.
And he's only supposed to work during the week, he's worked 7 days a week. He starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he's only supposed to be working during the week, not weekends, and he's just,
The property is horrible to look at.
yeah, it's sad.
It's disgusting.
And if you go to the wetlands, the bogs that are back there, that's a state preserve that's rolling in the Mill Creek.
It's all filled in, but not only that, the tire place, when we walk the pathway, they got a pipe running into the wetlands.
So
What is that?
we know, I mean, it's just,
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
there's no
going on.
control over it. And again, we've called code enforcement to have them come to look at the work they're doing again, and nobody answers our calls.
And also, the tire place cleared property without permits, but that pipe worries us. What's that going into the wetlands?
Yes, so, I mean, it's just,
It's a
again,
mess back there. You gotta walk that pathway.
you said we're not getting any answers from anybody.
But somebody's gotta stop it or do something about it.
Hey,
It's
John,
continuing.
I was out there 6 months
Yeah.
ago. I gotta be honest with you, I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for the town, I'm embarrassed for the council, this has still been allowed to go on. I mean,
And
I
this
was
gentleman's
out there.
making money
I
probably
was
every
out
day.
there, I met with them 6 months ago, and it is everything, they're not exaggerating.
It's
Something,
getting worse.
I
something
agree.
needs to be done. And I'll tell you something, when that application is heard, you get every single person from your neighborhood to show up that night.
Well, the neighbors are afraid to come in because they don't want to be.
You know what I'm saying? When you have that hearing,
Yeah.
you get all of Scott Estates out that night to come in,
All
to
of Scott
come here.
Estates is upset about it, but due to COVID, trying to get everybody together,
Right.
we want to get a
Wear
petition
a
out.
mask, and you come in and separate.
But, John, we got, this has been going on for 6 months.
Yep, so
And I
And again,
actually,
our attorney said that it's totally illegal use. The property is residential, there's not
There's
conforming,
no zoning at all there.
it's landlocked, he has no access to Route 9, he's going through another property, but still, he's able to use it every day.
if any of the council members have not been out there yet, I encourage you to go and take a look firsthand. You need to see it, I want to say to fully appreciate, but to comprehend the magnitude of this project. I actually was back there, and it's an industrial type situation. It's not like a little sleepy, this is no, this
And the mess that
this
he
is no
left
tricks.
because he got caught trying to clear it, it's
This-
still a disaster.
This is no trixies, this is Viking yachts, this is
Those
big.
boat racks, they have to come down because there's, the soil's eroding underneath it, and there's trees buried underneath.
And there's
We don't
no,
know
like I
what
said,
happens.
we don't even know how the footings are or anything, it's just that, even, the first time that you guys walked out there, they said it was a structural nightmare and an environmental disaster.
Yep.
So, and again, we keep coming here pleading for help, we called the town, I mean, she got tired of calling the police because we were just, just being a nuisance to everybody while we're trying to stop this guy. And again, he's profiting every day, but doing everything illegal.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you for your time.
and so if I could just say a couple of things. One, nobody thinks of you guys as the bad guys in this. I can only apologize and tell you that the normal course when somebody does something without a permit is to have the code enforcement go and issue a summons like they did.
Hey, John.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hey, John. Just so you know, there were 6 violations issued.
Yep. And yes, agreed.
Just so you know, I mean, and I understand it's a frustrating thing, and it's frustrating for us too on the government side, but everybody's entitled to due process. On our end, 6 summonses, 6 stop work orders were issued. And if he continues to violate, then we just continue to issue. We can't go on there with the police department and tell him to stop moving equipment. I mean, he's the one who's jeopardizing.
It's an illegal
himself
business.
By continuing,
That's the problem.
By
It's an illegal
continuing to
business.
use the property.
That's our problem. It's an illegal business. It's not him using a boat at his house. It's an illegal business. Our attorney
work.
specified the facts that he cannot use the property. Mr. Camera has the paperwork from our attorney that shows all the legal bounds that he cannot use the property.
And he's bringing stone in, he's bringing dirt in.
And one other thing too was brought to our attention, because it was stated that, why should we go there, fine him every day? It was brought to our attention that when the Beechwood Shopping Center project was in trouble, you fine the owners $1,000 a day, every day. But you tell us that we gave him 6 summonses, and what's it gonna do to give him more? Fine him every day. Take it out of his wallet, and then he's gonna learn to get the boats off the property, take the place down, and stop crying the blues because he said he got beat up by a contractor, but now he's applying to put a building up.
We just
Where's
wanted
the-
it
where's
done
the joke?
right way. It's not done the right way at all.
So fine him every day. Go there and give him a ticket every day he does something wrong, and do the right thing.
And that was the construction department. That was 6 issued by the construction department, and there was 4 issued by the
Code enforcement.
I'm sorry, code enforcement. Thank you. Yes, he's already had 10 summonses and waiting to get to court.
But we called him last week about him doing more construction, nobody came out. So case closed on that. So we tried and we tried, and everybody just turns a blind eye to it, so.
Through the chair, Mr. Camera, if he was given a summons through the UCC with the building department, right on the front of the sheet, which I showed you the other day, is $2,000 a week penalty. And then he pays $100 and he goes to the county, and the county is going to shoot him down.
Yep.
So, I don't know why this is going on, and not to rub salt in, Mr. Prosser has had property in town, he's always done the right thing. In another town, he couldn't put a table on the sidewalk for ice cream. So
Yeah.
it is insane.
Yeah.
But, we do the best we can, Tom.
All right, I appreciate your help. So, but again, like I said, it needs to be addressed, so, because it's just getting worse. Thank you.
Through the chair, guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
John, can you hear me?
Yes, you're on.
It's gross. Are we able, and maybe this is a question for Lauren, are we able to file an injunction so he ceases operating his business until this thing is rectified?
That is an option. I am not the one handling it, but I'm going to reach out to the attorney that is handling it to discuss what has been considered at this point and what can be done. That is an option that I think should be pursued.
Okay, to piggyback on what the president said, this is embarrassing to all of us. So let's not have this reoccur at another meeting. We have to do something.
Thank you, Councilman Gross.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cameron, could I just say one more thing?
Yes.
Somebody mentioned about a
Wait,
street being...
Your name and address again for the record.
Ambrose Conti, 87 Charles Street in Bayville. Someone mentioned about the street being closed or vacated. Who came to that decision? I mean, I have property that goes beyond that, and
That's probably why it wasn't vacated at the time, because it was denying you access to the back. When I
Right,
walked around
because
the
you
back
put-
where you have the logs.
Yeah, he has the lawns right in the middle of the street. His lawn is there with decorative trees and everything else. And exactly what they were talking about, I'm going through the same problem.
Yeah, I thought there was a
Exactly
reason why
the
it
same.
wasn't vacated going back there.
Yeah, I think Councilman Burns only mentioned that it was discussed. No decision was
Discussed.
made to vacate it.
Where the logs are, that's another street that goes behind your
That's
property.
Floral Street.
Right.
And if they come in with water, his front of his house is on on Floral Street, not on Charles Street. So if they don't come, if he puts his connection on Charles Street, well, I have to come all the way from Charles Street with my water lines from those back lots. If he would put the water lines right in front of his house where they're supposed to come in, well, then I'd have access to his continuing lines. And exactly what they were talking about is exactly what I'm going through with these
Yep.
people. Commercial business in the residential zone, and there's no permits or nothing for anything. It's just, you know what I'm going through.
Yep.
It's
Thank you.
horrible. I know exactly what you're going through. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else from the public?
If I may, just Leanne Zoppi, 222 21st Ave, South Seaside. I just want to ask, I was so nervous with, the last thing I ever like to do is be controversial. But there are some things that I mentioned here. I'm just trying, I would like to just ask, what is going on with the parking signs?
The parking signs on Bayview?
Yeah.
They're changing them, I think he said tomorrow the guys will be out there, because this weekend again, if I remember last, they may have fixed the ones for the permit parking on the east side, but there was still only one no parking on the west side.
Yeah.
And whatever the last correspondence was, I responded, included Steve Seil, our Public Works Director, and said they would be addressed on Monday. He texted back and said he would have the guys out there on Tuesday. to
Oh,
do it,
good,
so.
okay. And how about the other thing with the broken wall or any kind of aesthetic
The wall,
anything?
I'm sorry, I'm not remembering what the wall is. It's a.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Keith? Where 22nd Avenue is, you know, where they have the gazebo?
The state did a wall.
Yeah.
They did it out of
Some plastic.
styrofoam and epoxy instead of doing
Yeah.
it out of masonry.
As
And,
part of their,
I've actually put some
drainage?
pieces back on, and it's just styrofoam.
Yeah.
And it's the end of the street wall that holds everything up. It needs to be torn down. And you ever seen this shopping center where they kick holes in the
Yeah.
drive it? That's what that is.
But this is a wall that the state constructed
It's a
when they did
retaining
the.
wall, and it's got like phony shale on top that's styrofoam.
Yeah, it's so horrible looking.
You know, I should pick one off, another one.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I was not familiar with that, and it sounds like it's not township property, but I see Alan making a note. I guess you'll follow up and with
Yeah,
whatever
it's the
state
they
agency,
built
so.
Styrofoam wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fence. Is there anything that we could do about that stupid-looking fence we have?
The snow fence.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gotta be
What were the
something
thoughts there? I thought, no, was put up to
We
keep the
could
sand
do
from.
We could do a post and rail with a little chain link down the bottom rail.
Yeah, it's something.
Well, I'll have
you
to
know.
ask everybody along Bayview if it's gonna.
Oh, my God, forget it, never mind. I'm sorry for opening,
No, I think
yeah.
that would
I'm
be
gonna buy a
about
house there,
A post and rail
hopefully.
with the little chain link along the bottom.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. All right, motion to close?
So moved.
Public portion,
Wait a second.
a second? Aye.
Resolution number 20-259R regarding closed session. Whereas we are about to discuss matters which deal with one or more of the statutory exceptions under the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, which allows exclusion of the public during said discussion, and whereas the matters to be discussed relate to personnel and contractual, whereas this may be disclosed to the public at a time when the necessity for confidentiality no longer exists, or within 6 months or less from the date thereof. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey as follows. 1, that the Township Council shall retire into executive session where the public shall be excluded and said matters will be discussed and formal action may be taken with regard hereto. 2, that the minutes of this executive session shall be closed from the public. Inspection shall so remain until the reason for confidentiality ceases to exist or upon formal action by the Township Council in an official meeting within 6 months or less. 3, that at termination of said executive session, the meeting would be adjourned. Get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Councilman Burns? Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Godano?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yeah.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
I think so.
Order?
This is the official meeting of July 27th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the applicable portions of the New Jersey Public Meetings Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been given. This meeting is posted on the bulletin board located in the corridor of this building and published in the newspaper on January 10th, 2020. Roll call. Councilman Bacchione.
Here.
Councilwoman Gingrich.
Present.
Councilman Burns.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan.
Here.
Councilman Godano.
Here.
Councilman Gross.
Here.
Council President Bushio.
Here. All right, item 3, approval of the official minutes for June 12th, 2020, and June 22nd, 2020.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 4, approval of the monthly reports as listed.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
I was like, you read
No, I'm not reading them this time.
it. Okay.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 5, Resolution 20-260R regarding bills and payable reports as listed.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan? Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Hell yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 6, public hearing on ordinance 20-2408 regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing acquisition of block 1546, lots 4, 401, 7-25 from O Capital LLC in accordance with New Jersey SA 40A:12-5A1 Butler Boulevard. The meeting is now open for comment on the ordinance.
Motion to close and adopt.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 7, introduction to ordinance 20-2508 regarding ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of block 584, lots 40 and 41 on municipal tax map to Lisa German in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 40A:12-13B and NJSA 40A:12-13.2 Baker Avenue, $7,600. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 8, introduction to ordinance 20-2608 regarding ordinance in Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of block 792, lots 9 and 11 on the municipal tax map to Todd German in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 40A:12-13B and NJSA 40A:12-13.2 Berkeley Avenue, $7,600.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 9, introduction to ordinance 20-2708 regarding ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of block 1420, lot 5 on the municipal tax map to Richard and Margaret Casagrande in accordance with provisions of NJSA 40A:12-13B and NJSA 40A:12-13.2 Moeller Drive, $16,100. May I-
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item number 10, introduction to ordinance 20-2808 regarding an ordinance in the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, creating Chapter 10 of the Berkeley Township Code to be entitled Registration of Foreclosing Mortgage Property and Vacant Property, providing for purpose, intent, and applicability of the ordinance requiring the registration and maintenance of certain real property by mortgagees and vacant property by owners, providing for penalties and enforcement, as well as the regulation, limitation, and reduction of registrable real property within Berkeley Township, providing for severability, repealer, codification, and an effective date.
Motion to adopt.
Introduce.
Introduce, I'm sorry.
Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 10A, introduction to ordinance 20-2908 regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 35, Article 10, entitled Design Standards to address the requirements of the planning and implementation agenda as agreed to by the Township at the time of plan endorsement. May I have a motion to introduce?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Did you say yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan? Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 10B, introduction to ordinance 20-30-OA regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing acquisition of block 372, lot 3 from Brian and Kristen Marshall in accordance with NJSA 40A:12-5A, 1 Washington Avenue. May I have a motion to
Motion to
introduce?
introduce.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes. Item 10C, introduction to ordinance 2020-3108 regarding an ordinance of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the use of a third-party electric payroll services. May I have...
Motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
At the
Okay.
very end.
Item 11, resolution 20-261R, consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
I'm sorry, just before you do that, just remember that item 17 is amended to include the parents or guardians of Lily
Oh, the
Leibowitz.
basketball court. Okay. I'll make the motion to 1 with the correction on 17 through 38. Any questions? Motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
And I have two items to add on. The first is Resolution 20-300R, requesting requirements for in-person voting.
Oh, for this. Okay, I'll make that motion. Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
And Resolution 20-301R, a resolution authorizing the receipt of bids for park improvements at Bayview Avenue.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Becchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
Fred?
Okay, resolution number 20-302. Be it resolved by the council members of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, that the budget hereinbefore set forth is hereby introduced and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $35,828,043.96 for municipal purposes and $552,345 for open space, recreation, farmland, and historic preservation trust fund levy. The summary of appropriations are as follows. General revenue, surplus anticipated, $2,110,000. Miscellaneous revenues anticipated, $10,512,916.44. Receipts for delinquent taxes, $1,139,000. 2, amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purposes, $35,828,043.96. Total amount to be raised by taxation, minimum tax is 50 million, or total revenue is $50,189,960.40. The general appropriations within caps, operations including contingent, $32,378,819.60. Deferred charges and statutory expenditures, municipal, $4,511,000. Excluded from caps, operations, total operations excluded from caps, $3,468,859.97. Capital improvements, $595,000. Municipal debt service, $6,784,540.28. Deferred charge, municipal, $65,525.27. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $2,386,215.28. And the total appropriations, $50,189,960.40.
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call. Councilman Bakayone.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich.
Yes.
Councilman Burns.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan.
Yes.
Councilman Godano.
Yes.
Councilman Gross.
Yes.
Council President Bushio.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn and say good night.
Second.
Thank you.
Aye.
Good night.